Hello and welcome to another episode of the Don't Get Me Going podcast. My name is Zoe Lulinski and we are officially halfway through the NFL season. I can't believe I'm saying that already. It felt like ages waiting for the NFL season, which it always does, but I just can't believe we're already on to week 10. Halfway through the season, and I cannot predict what the NFL playoff picture is going to look like. The NFC has been absolutely insane. Nothing's predictable. Any team can beat anyone right now. It's been a lot of fun to watch, and there were a lot of fun games this past week, actually. I'm going to get into one of them, which I feel like everyone has been talking about. But the first thing I want to talk about right now is the Colts and the Eagles from last year are scarily accurate. And I'm not going to say that the Colts are going to make the Super Bowl by any means. I mean, they're 7-2. They're looking really good. But I still am not able to fully put my trust in Daniel Jones quite yet, especially with his 5-turnover game last week with 3 interceptions and 2 fumbles. But when you look closer at these two teams' stats, it gets scarily accurate, and I'm going to explain them in a minute, but when you look at the Eagles of last year, they were averaging about 27 points per game and 386 yards per game. I mean, that's really good, and if you look at the Colts stats right now, that's as good, if not better. They're averaging about 32 points per game and 393 yards per game, and a lot of that can be attributed to the running back position. As we know, Saquon Barkley was in the running for MVP last year, and JT, Jonathan Taylor, is on the same track right now. Saquon Barkley ended the season with 2,005 yards, rushing yards, which was about a 5.8 yards per average, along with 287 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and 13 touchdowns, which makes 15 touchdowns for him total. And then when you look at Jalen Hurts, Hurts had 2,900 yards passing, 18 touchdowns, along with 14 touchdowns rushing, and 630 rushing yards. So, I mean, the rushing attack for the Eagles last year was insane, much attributed to Saquon Barkley, who's on the cover of Madden, was in the MVP race, had a historically amazing season last year. And while Jonathan Taylor is not on track to get as many yards. I mean, 2 weeks ago you would have said he's on pace to get 1,690 yards, as he's at 895 now, and with how he's been playing, I mean, if you don't include this week, he had 2 weeks back-to-back where he had 3 touchdowns. I mean, it's absolutely insane. He might not be totaling Saquon Barkley in the rushing yards right now, but he's far surpassing him in the touchdown game. He has 2 receiving touchdowns and 12 rushing touchdowns right now, and we're only halfway through the season. I mean, he's on pace for about 24 touchdowns rushing. I mean, that's absolutely insane. He's carrying the offense, especially with Daniel Jones. I'm not going to say Daniel Jones is an amazing quarterback yet. He's historically in the NFL been average at best, and he has sparks of being good. I mean, of course, he's drafted in the first round, but, I mean, he had 5 turnovers last week. That looks a lot like the quarterback we saw for the Giants the past few years since they drafted him. So I'm curious how he does in a rebound game in this next week. So I'm really interested to see that, but I just wanted to point out those details. And then you look at the defensive side of the ball. The Colts are 16th right now in total defense, middle of the pack, while the Eagles, again, were first. According to Fox, they were first in total defense, being first in passing defense, 10th in rushing, and 2nd in scoring defense, which is why they were so good. They had Saquon Barkley rushing combined with the number 1 rated defense. The Colts don't have that. However, they are trying to get there. I wasn't sure if this would be an all-in season for the Colts quite yet just because of the quarterback situation, but with how good they are doing, a lot of talent on the offensive side of the ball, they just traded for Sauce Gardner at the trade deadline, which is an insane addition to the team. I'm really excited to see how he matches up with the rest of the team, but these comparisons are scarily accurate for the Eagles and Colts this year, so I just wanted to point that out. That's something I've been looking at. And then on to the Bears-Bengals game. I'm a Bears fan. You know I have to talk about it. That might be one of the most exciting games I've seen of football in the past decade. I mean, I'm only 21, so who really knows how much I can remember, but, I mean, from what I do remember, that was an insane game. 47-42, so over 80 total points scored. Kickoff return, onside kick recovery, turnovers, missed kicks, amazing special teams play by one team and a horrible special teams play by the other. And I do want to get into that for the Bears. I think this game pointed out a major weakness in the Bears team that needs to be fixed immediately. If you hadn't watched before, the Bears, I don't know what it is. I mean, I'm a Bears fan. I watch all their games. Almost every single kickoff the Bears have, which should be coming off momentum. They should have momentum after scoring, which is when you kick off or, beginning of the games. They almost every time let the team get to around the 40-yard line or more. And that was shown this past week as the opening kickoff got returned for a touchdown. Multiple times the Bengals started on or near the 50-yard line, and they allowed an onside kick, which, is almost impossible nowadays with the rules being set up the way they are. You have to pretty much announce you're doing an onside kick. That's nearly impossible to recover, and yet the Bengals did. I think it's something the Bears need to fix immediately because, if you look back at the Chargers from, I don't remember what year it was, but they had the number one defense and number one offense, and I'm pretty sure didn't make the playoffs because of how bad their special teams was. And not even that. You can look at all the special teams and kick coverage, but you also got to look at Caro Santos. He missed, I know one of them didn't count, but he missed 2 kicks last week. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer on Caro because he's been amazing for the Chicago Bears the past few years. But, he doesn't have a strong leg. And Jake Moody, isn't always accurate. He's looked really good for the Bears so far this year. But do we have a kicking problem on our hands for the Chicago Bears? We'll have to wait and see for that. But I just think this game really pointed out that special teams needs to be addressed immediately for the Chicago Bears. And we already knew the Bears had some problems on defense with secondary injuries and just players on the edge just not playing the way they're expected to. Dio is unfortunately going to be out for the rest of the season with an Achilles injury. And the Bears did make a move at the trade deadline, but it looks like the player that they're getting to come in will kind of be playing an edge role similar to Dominique Robinson, so he'll kind of be a rotational player and probably play on special teams quite a bit. But I just had to touch on this game. It was super exciting to watch. Being up 41-27 with 2 minutes left, you'd expect that team to not struggle the rest of the way, but Caleb Williams looked great in that second half. I think that's a Colston Loveland wake-up game for him as a rookie. 2 touchdowns, 118 yards. He won Offensive Player of the Week in the NFC this week. Looked really good. I think there's a lot of positives on offense, especially with also Kyle Monangai. The 2 rookies stood out for the Bears for sure, and I think both of them earned more playing time in the future. So a lot of fun there. And Joe Flacco, being 40 years old, playing insane still. And I also think the way Joe Flacco is playing, it shows how, I just feel bad for Bengals fans. If there's any Bengals fan that watches this, hears this, just know that honestly, all NFL fans feel sorry for you guys. Scoring 38 points last week and 41 this week, you'd think you should win those games. So absolutely insane. But that was just such a fun game to watch. And the weekend was nearly perfect for the Bears with Lions and Packers losing. Vikings obviously won because they played the Lions. But just a really fun game overall. The Bears are also, reports today coming out, they're looking at cornerback Asante Samuel, who just got cleared to play as well. So they're going to try him out next week on Tuesday for some more cornerback depth. And he'd be a really great addition for them this year. But next I want to look at some of the NFL records. Patriots are second in the conference, which, by the way, who would have predicted that the Colts, Patriots, and Broncos are the top 3 in the NFC or in the AFC halfway through the season? I would not have predicted it. It feels like it's 2015 all over again. A little bit nostalgia coming through with Phillip Rivers, Peyton Manning, and Tom Brady. I don't know. I don't know if I can fully buy into the Patriots quite yet. They played 2 good teams total this season against the Steelers and Bills, and they only beat the Bills. And the Bills are a divisional rival for the Patriots, which divisional games, in my opinion, are always different. Like, the Raiders always compete with the Chiefs pretty well, even though historically the past few years the Chiefs have been way better than them. I just think those games always tend to be closer since they play each other so much. And nothing against the Patriots. I think they played great in that game, but they lost to the Steelers in every other game they played. I mean, so far this season they've had the easiest schedule and only have the second toughest for the remainder of the season. Not that I think Drake May has played amazing this season. I think they have a lot of potential, but for a first year, like Mike Vrabel's first year as their head coach, I don't know how far they'll get into the playoffs. I think they will make the playoffs for sure right now, especially with the competition in the AFC. The NFC is a much tighter race. I just don't know if I can buy into them quite yet. Ravens, I'm buying into. They're 3-5, won the last two. I mean, it's the Ravens. They always start off super slow. This might have been one of their worst starts in the past few years, but I still think there's a very likely chance that they'll make the playoffs. Colts, I'm buying into. And again, I don't know how much I can trust Daniel Jones running the offense, but halfway through the season, they're still averaging 30-plus points a game, which I think is just absolutely insane. At that point, you got to at least buy into them. Like, you can't sell. You have to buy into them right now with how good their offense is looking, even with the game last week. Broncos, I'm selling them right now. They've had a lot of close games lately. And don't get me wrong, I still think they're really good, but Bo Nix just has to play more consistent coming into these next few games for me to actually buy into them. And then for NFC side, Seahawks, I'm definitely buying into. They're crushing every team they're playing right now. Packers, I'm selling. Bears, I'm selling. And Rams, I'm buying into. For the Packers and Bears, they're just too inconsistent right now. The Packers are playing down to the level of any team they're playing. And the Bears, are always showing a lot of positive signs, but also have a lot of problems every single week that they're having to deal with. They're having a first-year head coach right now. I think that's expected, but they're playing really well for what they have, especially along with some of the injuries on the defense that they've had. But, especially with how hard the NFC is right now, they're not in the playoff. They're in the hunt right now, and they're 5-3. There's a lot of 5-3 teams, a lot of teams competing for that last playoff spot. It's tough right now for, honestly, that entire division, the NFC East, or that entire division, the NFC North. Lots going on there. However, I think these next few weeks for the Bears and Packers, I could easily change my mind for both. As a Bears fan, I want to buy into them, but I don't think they're expecting to win the Super Bowl right now. It's the first year of a new head coach. They got to build up to it, and they're showing a lot of positive signs. They're top 10 in all the major offensive categories, which when was the last time a Bears team was top 10 in those categories? I think they're doing a really impressive job. There's just ways to go, and I think there's ways to go for the Packers as well. For the Rams, I am also buying into them. They made the playoffs last year. They're looking really solid in offense. Lots of weapons. They're looking really good. Quick topic on Matt LaFleur as well. Packers fans, I don't think they understand how hard it is to find a good coach in the NFL. I've seen so many Packers fans this week saying to fire Matt LaFleur, and I think that would be the biggest mistake the Packers have made in the past decade. It's actually insane how spoiled Packers fans are. Matt LaFleur has done amazing. You guys have been to the playoffs nearly every single season for as long as I can remember. You have one bad season, get right back to it. I know you guys are complaining about his play calling, and yes, it might have looked a little rough last week, but it might have just been the flow of the game. He had throwing a lot of screens last week, especially against the Panthers. But, the Packers' offense is one of the best in the league the last few years, and that's with no clear wide receiver one option. And you got to give Matt LaFleur credit for that. He's scheming guys open. And the Packers offense, no matter the quarterback looks good, Malik Willis has looked amazing on their team, and Jordan Love looks pretty solid as well. You do have weapons on that team, but come on. You can't fire Matt LaFleur. He's one of the best coaches in the league still. That's my opinion on that. I think Packers fans are spoiled with the way they're complaining. If you do fire him, just wait to see how long it takes you to find another good coach. That's all I'm going to say. And then lastly, I do want to get into my top 10. The Eagles I have at number 1 right now. They had their bye week, but in this bye week, they've been super active. They've added Michael Carter, Jair Alexander, Jalen Phillips, most of them on the defensive side of the ball. And then they also might get Nolan Smith back soon. They're getting a lot of talent back right now, especially right when it seems like they're figuring out their passing game right now, especially last week against the Vikings. They looked really solid. At 2, I have the Seahawks. Like I mentioned, they're crushing everyone right now. lots of talent on the offensive side of the ball. They just traded for someone at the trade deadline, and I'm forgetting who it is right now. So I know it's someone big. It was a pretty solid acquisition for them. I'm just forgetting who it was. Don't yell at me. But the Rams I have at 3, Colts I have at 4. They got lowered a little bit. I had them at 1 previously, or 1 or 2. But with the offensive play, the quarterback play from Daniel Jones, I had to lower them a little bit. But they got Sauce Gardner on defense, so a great addition on that side of the ball. Bills just beat the Chiefs. I have them at 5. Lions I have at 6. Again, divisional game. They just lost a divisional game to the Vikings. It was a close one, and the Vikings came out on top. I mean, Lions are still one of the best in the league, one of the best offenses in the league. I have them at 6. Buccaneers had a bye. I am keeping them at 7. Chiefs at 8. They're 5-4. They're definitely still in the mix there. 9, I have the Broncos. Again, I think they just need to be more consistent. They have like 1 or 2 good quarters, and then Bo Nix is nowhere to be seen, and I think Bo Nix is the stem of the problem. He needs to play better consistently throughout the whole game. But I'm keeping them at 9. And then Packers, so they just switched places with the Packers. Packers I have at 10 after losing to the Panthers. Pretty unexpected, but I do think the Panthers are better than people say. That's my top 10. Lastly, before I go, I'm trying this new thing. I want to play a little game of Guess the Player, and I will give you guys a couple hints, and then I'll let you know in my next episode who the player was. I want to know how easy this is as well. This might be too easy or might be too hard. Let me know what you think of this little fun thing. But I have a player I want you to guess. And starting with, he's a wide receiver, went to Cal University. He was drafted by the Chargers in 2013, and he's played for 2 different teams. He's back on the team that drafted him as well. I'm leaving you there at that. Don't get me going. Thank you for listening to this podcast, and I'll see you next time.